Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling Rumors Raw Fan Feedback. This is Sam Daley at LadyNexus13. I am Adam Daley at Adam Daley13. Guys, make sure you're subscribing, liking, following, all that stuff. WrestlingRumors.net. Find us all over the place. As you know, this is your Talking Dead meets your daily show, meets your SNL Weekend Update style show. So guys, if you're looking for the hard opinion style stuff, probably go elsewhere.
Not the show for you.
We plan on having a lot of fun for the next about 30 minutes or so. Now, this is where we typically, if you're a first-time viewer of what we do on Thursdays, which I always say Thursdays because we tape on Thursdays, but it really never finally uploads to YouTube until Friday. So I should just start saying Fridays. But we tape on Thursdays. Obviously, it gets up when...
Friday fan feedback, FFF.
Yeah, something,
Great,
something. But then when we go live, it would mess up, But this is where we typically take a lot of your feedback, and then we just run with that. This week, what I noticed is everything pretty much revolves around Sting and Rollins. Sting, Rollins, the Divas Revolution, the Wyatt family, along with Reigns and Ambrose. A couple other little things sprinkled in there too.
Okay.
So that's kind of what we're going to go into with that. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Chris Walter, our editor-in-chief, El Capitan. His biggest thing that he always says is that I don't promote myself as much because I promote Sam, I promote the site, I basically just promote everybody but myself. So Walter, this is for you. Normally I don't do this, guys. You know that I am just here as a stand-in for her. But Walter, brother, if you want me to promote myself a little bit, I will. So ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who the hell I am, my name is Adam Daley, your Steel City savior, your natural-born healer, and most importantly, the most charismatic showman to ever grace your cerebellum via mobile device or web browser. So, back to the show.
I don't know how you feel about yourself.
There's a story behind that, Walter. That was for you, brother. I'll never do that again. I will never cut another promo on here. There's a story. I'm going to tie into something later on about that, the whole gimmick behind that. But, ladies and gentlemen, for the next 25 minutes, if you want the gospel, put your hand on the screen and let my words flow through you. No? Done? Okay. Done ripping my favorite wrestlers' gimmicks? Okay. Anyway, follow me on Twitter at AdamDaily13. I guess you could say I'm either comic relief or a thorn in your side, whichever way you look at it. I don't know. Sam, right now, how do you feel about the Divas Revolution? We're going to get to your comments in a second, but let's get, our initial reactions. How are they handling? Because it seems most of the comments are just, there's not a lot of optimism with the way they're handling the Divas Revolution. How do you feel right now about it?
I feel like it's being mishandled.
Okay.
Definitely.
And we're going to get to a lot of the comments about that. I'll say that I agree with that. And I think that it is a work in progress, though. And that's where this is where I do have to play devil's advocate a lot, guys. That's my rule on here. So, but trust me, as much as I don't want to, I will play somewhat of devil's advocate on that. Where are you at with Sting? Because right now we're very polarized on how Sting fits into the title picture. Just being in the match altogether. How do you feel about it?
I don't.
With a couple days now thinking about it,
I don't understand why he gets a title shot. I just don't get it.
That's right. That's a lot of the consensus. But there's a lot of optimism on too, though. That's why I think something like this is fun.
Like them just making it he's got a title shot right now. Maybe if Sting had come out and tried to screw him over maybe more than once, but Sting never even came out and tried to screw him over. Well, he just came out and attacked him during his statue unveiling, and looky here, now he's got a title shot. Why?
Well,
why is this happening?
Well, Triple H is the one that issued the title match.
I don't care. There's been no explanation.
There you go. That's why we tune in to not only SmackDown, because we did tape this before SmackDown. That's why we tune in to SmackDown. Depending on where you live, and because I should say SmackDown airs differently, different days in the world. So scratch that. I think that in this situation, this has more to do with Sting versus the Authority. And then Triple H's reaction, it's going to be, the story's going to be more about Triple H's snap reaction of almost immediately giving Sting maybe something he didn't even want. Mm-hmm. So he's already playing into Sting's mind games without, just thinking from a different, so to speak, from a different periscope or a different microscope lens, I guess I could say.
I don't know. I'm just not sold on it yet.
New Wyatt family member, what do you think?
Of the potential of another new Wyatt family member?
No,
or
just
the current one
we just
came
got
out with. I like it.
I absolutely.
Love it.
What'd you think about the black mask?
Oh, I love that he's the black sheep.
It's great.
I love
the look of it is so mean.
Mm-hmm.
So mean.
Did you hear that they're actually going to come up with possibly another new Wyatt family member?
I did hear that, but and we're going to get to a question later on too about somebody.
That'd be interesting.
Do you think? And we'll get this out of the way, and I'm going to credit whoever it was later on. But do you think there's any? Do you think there's any chance that obviously Ambrose and Rollins, Ambrose and Reigns now are going to have to recruit somebody for a potential 6-man tag match at Night of Champions? Who would they recruit?
Who would they recruit?
Good question, right?
That's a toss-up.
Good question. Because that's, initially, and obviously that's where they're going, but that's a real tough one,
When's Sami Zayn coming back?
Not for a little while.
Is he still injured?
He's still injured, I believe, and I think that they're talking Royal Rumble for his return. And I would assume, and we know what happens when we all assume, ladies and gentlemen, but I would assume that he would feud with Kevin Owens immediately upon return. And I think that's what we get at SummerSlam, or WrestleMania, guys. See, now they're going to have my brain trigger going back, forth. So, but no, I think that's our WrestleMania match is Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. At least for me, that's what I think it should be. I know a lot of other people were thinking Lesnar and that, whatever the case may be. But I think that, for me, I want to see Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn at WrestleMania.
Maybe Daniel Bryan?
Potentially, if he gets medically cleared.
Isn't he already medically cleared?
Not by WWE doctors, supposedly. As
Didn't
reports,
Daniel Bryan come out and say that he's medically cleared?
He's medically cleared by his doctor, but not by WWE doctors, I believe, is the last that I read of it. I'll admit, guys, I don't read too much into... I shouldn't say this. I only read what's on WrestlingRumors.net. No, I'll admit,
the number one source of
like
wrestling
this. Cheap plug. No, I'll admit, I've been taking a lot of reports with a grain of salt because I truly believe right now, and we've said this so many times, I think that we're living in this, because it's the reality era, they're gonna throw curveballs at everybody and swerve everybody, and I don't care who you are, whether it's fans, whether they've done a brilliant job this year. And I know it seems clunky and we're frustrated about it, especially as fans, we're frustrated about, the Divas Revolution, why Sting right now, these kinds of things. And I'm not saying all fans, but this is just what's the polarizing, issues right now. I think for me, that's what's making this great. Because regardless, people are still talking.
Yeah.
And regardless, and again, even with, and we're going to get to the comments, even with, the Divas matches where people are chanting Sasha and Sasha's not even in the match, to me, that's still a win. I know, and I think it had more to do with maybe the fans that were doing the wave, but regardless of anything, I think, and like I've said for weeks now, it's more of people are so displaced and I guess over the Bella Twins. And at this point, I don't know if it's fair or unfair. I'll admit that, and that's not even playing devil's advocate, guys. It's just being fair. Just like right now, guys, if you don't think that Roman Reigns has stepped his game up and he's listen, the best thing that happened, I think, for Roman Reigns, in my opinion, was what the fans put that poor man through last year. Yeah. When really it was just he was given an opportunity, and then the fan backlash. I think it did wonders for Roman Reigns' career because I think he's absolutely right now. I mean, you cannot deny that he's going to be a big time player.
Yeah, he is.
So, with that being said, I think it's just a lot of times it's a little bit of a waiting game with this, and I think there might be a bigger picture involved. I think, and we've become so impatient too because we want everything right now. And I know you're the biggest one with that.
No, I'm not.
You are, and a lot of times
I'm a very patient person.
Think about this.
My fingers were crossed.
Think about this though. Whenever the Jon Stewart, Seth Rollins stuff first started happening, I believe it was right before the Royal Rumble. And people were actually talking about getting Jon Stewart involved in the Rumble somehow, and what if Jon Stewart, blah, 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 or, it was somewhere around there. And think about that, guys. Like, that's something that if we would have, if they would have said, okay, let's go with that right now, that takes away that SummerSlam moment. And not only that, but a couple other spots that they had in between where, in the process too.
Where Jon Stewart guest hosting and Seth Rollins getting like those little spots on the Daily Show.
Correct. Exactly. Exactly. So I think a lot of times it's because, but that's society though too. And I don't think, what I don't like is it's not just wrestling fans, guys. It's just, if you're a fan of anything in general, it's the same people that wanted Roman Reigns pushed last year that were like, no, push him now, push him now, push him now. Just as impatient, But in fairness, let's face it, it's like that in any genre of entertainment that we watch. We want Suicide Squad out right now. You know what I mean?
I wanted that out like yesterday.
Right, like you guys want Walking Dead out. Like as soon as the premiere starts, you guys want to know already what's the finale, and it's like, come on, let them tell the story.
Fear the Walking Dead came out this week, and I was so bummed out that it wasn't The Walking Dead. I thought The Walking Dead was coming back, and I was so disappointed.
And instead of so I think a lot of times, guys, it's a 52 episode story that we have to follow every year, and I think that's but you know. I don't know. Maybe I just feel like this year, because it's kept us guessing a lot more. And as a fan, that's all I want. Is the creative side of things. I like to constantly keep guessing where you really don't know what's going to happen. Where if it doesn't make sense and it has people talking, you're doing something right, because we need to find out why. Why is this happening? You know. I think there is a lot to that. There's a lot to that. All right, let's get to some of the comments right now. Chris, big shout out, Chris Fields, brother. He said, and again, he agrees. The big thing is with the Divas Revolution. He said it's going nowhere, but he think basically Nikki having to hold on to the title until Night of Champions to erase AJ Lee's championship reign is going to hurt it. If the plan was for Charlotte coming up with the Horsewomen, they should have rolled over most of them. SummerSlam was solid. Raw was excellent. Let me see. NXT was amazing. Huge Sting fan and Seth Rollins fan. He sees a lot of value in this spot. Sting could win. Sting could win, hold a week or two, or Rollins could win, make him that much of a bigger deal. I mean, he's got a statue for beating Cena. What's he get for beating Sting? What would he give it? I want him to have a statue as big as the Statue of Liberty if he beats Sting. Just for fun.
No.
They should, or like in the McMahon-Helmsley era, have his face on each side of the Titantron.
I want them to have a National Seth Rollins Day.
Why don't we already? Hashtag National Seth Rollins Day.
We should
already have that. Now, and you know what? I think that's right now. I think, and we're going to get to a lot of this with the comments too. So I'm going to get to a lot of your comments first. But Chris, thank you, brother. Thank you. Let me see. Daniel, bring up the men's division up to part 2, and then you'll have something totally awesome. WWE, because Seth doesn't do it for him. Pretty interesting. And there, I think there is some weight to that too, because I think right now. I think an argument could be made that they have more talent right now than they've had in a very long time. I mean, guys that could main event right now. I mean, I think and I know there's a lot of guys that are going to turn their nose up, but I think there's a lot of main event caliber guys right now. Think about where Seth Rollins. See, that's what I'm always going to do because of the 2 R's, Reigns and Rollins. Think about Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. For all intents and purposes, both of those guys are main eventers.
Yes.
You know, Bray Wyatt, main eventer. You know, Luke Harper is so underrated, what this man can do. Not only being able to work with little guys, big guys. He's so versatile. His ring psychology, he's so gifted in the ring for how big of a man that he is. You know, and he's considered mid-card, upper mid-card, low, you know, wherever I think their talent pool right now, there is a lot there. I just think they're in a figuring out period of, okay, we finally have talent we can work with again. How do we keep up with the Joneses so that not only can we tell short-term storylines along with those long-term storylines to not only please fans who want the instant gratification, but not still plant seeds for those big power swerves. Because let's face it, guys, if you would have told us at WrestleMania that SummerSlam weekend was going to involve Jon Stewart screwing over John Cena for Seth Rollins to keep the WWE and win the United States Championship, then you were going to see John Cena deliver an AA to Jon Stewart. Then Sting was going to come out. Sting's going to have him out. You never. This stuff would never. We would have all said, yeah, okay. You know, I mean, not in a million years.
Yeah, we said it's never going to happen.
So. I think that there is something that where I always keep saying patience, butterfly, patience, because I do, and I know you're a little bit more impatient. How do you feel about that?
I'm an impatient person.
You're impatient, right? But
I'm a very impatient.
I do agree though. I think there's so much talent in the men's division.
They are
so much talent.
You got Rusev, Cesaro, Dolph Ziggler, all of New Day, primetime players, Wyatt family. Reigns, Rollins.
And we're talking about people that aren't even close to the main event picture.
Yeah, Ambrose, everybody.
I mean, it's a very deep roster.
They have an entire roster full of main eventers that they don't know what to do with in the mid card level.
Right.
I feel that's their problem. They have so many main eventers that work as main eventers that you can't have that many. So they're trying to have them all be mid carders, and they don't know how to write for that.
And is it the lack of story? Because the matches, guys, have been phenomenal.
The matches are remarkable.
Has it been the story? Is it
storytelling?
It's just it's been choppy storytelling. Mm-hmm. It seems like there's really been no build up other than the cliffhangers at pay-per-views. Because I was thinking back. There's really only been like 1 or 2 pay-per-views that didn't end fishy all year, and we've had 10 pay-per-views, and I know, and I didn't go back and fact check it, guys, because this is more of a casual show, but there's
go back and fact check it.
But there's really only been like 1 or 2 pay-per-views that hasn't ended in somewhat of a screwy manner all year. It's been more of the cliffhanger setting up Raw. But I do agree. I think that there's so much talent there now but there's always a concern of overpopulation, because then you set fans into a frenzy of who do we really want now, which we're going to get to in another question, which I really like too. But Daniel, thank you so much, brother. Callum says 2 questions. First about the Divas Revolution. He's big on it for the first couple weeks. He said he really dug it, but right now because he never really did before, and he's digging every match now. He said, but what has happened though is every team are sharing wins, but mainly in tag matches. Huge issue he has is that Nikki Bella hasn't defended a title in 50 days, but she is likely to beat AJ's record, which he's mad about. Let me see, blah 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 blah. But also, why is Sasha Banks in Team Bad, and where are they on? Or where were they? So why is Sasha on Team Bad? Where were they on Raw? On to the Wyatts, Reigns and Raw. Who do you see the former Shield partners enlisting? And Callum, that's who we wanted to shout that out to earlier. So first things first.
Callum, with Nikki Bella not defending the Divas title in 50 days, it's probably because she was injured there for a while, so she'll probably be defending again soon.
Right.
Sasha Banks was potentially hurt on the NXT TakeOver pay-per-view on Saturday.
Correct, right.
So that's why the Team Bad wasn't there on Monday.
Right, and you know what?
But I do agree with you. They're just not handling this Divas Revolution the way that it should be handled.
And Callum, to your defense too, whenever it was posted, there was no news about Sasha Banks being injured either. So obviously nobody, and that was a very valid question because that was a glaring. I will say this. Right now, in the big fight over the AJ Lee and Nikki Bella debate, the interesting statistic is at this point in their title reigns, they've each defended a title 7 times. So let that sink in, guys. I know Nikki hasn't defended it, but remember, Dean Ambrose was United States champion for like 10 months and defended it twice, but we loved it because it was our guy. I know Nikki Bella isn't the fan favorite, so to speak, but I do have to play devil's advocate on this one because AJ Lee's 8th title defense was when she dropped it to Paige.
Okay.
More than likely, Nikki Bella's next title defense is going to be when she drops it. Mm-hmm. I think they're almost going to be mirror image title reigns, and again, at the end of the day, I don't think we're ever going to talk about any title reign that dealt with the Divas butterfly belt ever when it comes to the history. I think now that we have this movement coming up, and it's really going to redefine what women can do in sports entertainment. Mm-hmm. I don't know if either, like 5 years from now, we're going to be laughing that this was even a conversation. I honestly, really, I truly believe that. I truly, in my heart of hearts, believe that.
Okay, we'll see.
Let me see real quick here. And then, all right, so that was all the stuff we got from Facebook. Real quick, let me see here. Justin on YouTube said, this is a good one. Hey, guys, do you ever think WWE would let us fans come up with WWE creative team ideas such as storylines? I think it would be awesome and change WWE forever. # free the buzzard. Sam?
No, I do not think that Vince would ever, ever, ever in a million years let fans come up with storylines.
Never. And honestly, it's a bad idea. I'll say this, and this is what I wanted to tie in real quick to what I loved about Jon Stewart, and this is the only reason why it's a bad idea. I got to work one show in my life, and shout out to Ronnie Starks and Black Diamond Wrestling. Thank you guys. I basically worked as a Paul Heyman-esque, a business associate, so to speak, for a contract signing for my buddy, and you truly don't understand until you step through those ropes. Now, this was just a contract signing spot. I did not take a bump. Things of those nature. But just being in that environment, sharing a locker room with Ray Rowe, Ring of Honor, just learning stuff from guys that have been in this industry for so long, knowing that you have no business being in that locker room, but everybody being so welcoming. There's so much goes into a show. I truly believe it as fans. It really is hard for us to understand. And not only that, think about the roadblocks now, not only as a creative writing team. Mm-hmm. You come up with someone, then it gets pitched. What if it gets blocked and blocked and blocked? Now, I will say this. I do think there is something to what Justin's saying if you think big picture. Everybody loves Tough Enough, right?
Yeah.
What would completely sell me on original programming, do not a Tough Enough, but, and don't call it creative enough, but have an open tryout for a creative position. Now, keep in mind, they might not have any kind of pull, say, whatever, or they'll have a very minor role when they have that 1-year contract or whatever, but I think it would really show people, they really like to show people what it takes to become an athlete within the ring. But the biggest knock is there's so many keyboard warriors, that people like to use, or there's smarts, or there's this. I think it would really open up, and I think it would be absolutely fascinating television to have an elimination type show of the process of somebody trying to get a job as a WWE writer and make it a competition where they're pitting people up against each other with creative ideas, not only to see the short-term but long-term, ramifications, merchandising, like everything that has to be tied in, protecting certain characters, finishing a match, finishing a storyline, starting from the end, writing backwards, things that a lot of people don't truly, and I think if people really saw that creative process, they'd go, oh, okay, I get it now. I get it, because it's a very, very working one show, and guys, and I'm not, and listen, it was a very, it was a smaller venue. It was great because I did have a live mic and was able to shoot on some people, which was fun. So it was a total blast. But you learn just that one time, walking through those ropes. I learned so much in one night that you couldn't, that's one night, guys. So think about, 2 nights, 3 nights. But as my buddy said, it was a couple people asked, well, what other promotions do you work for? And like my eyes got real big, and my buddy was like, don't you dare, meaning like don't even ever think about getting into business because it's not worth it. So it was funny. But that I think for me, if that's the best way to describe it, man, I think it is I think that's an idea that if you threw it at the wall, I think that's where it could really bloom, because I don't know as fans absolutely. Now this is in a joking manner. I would like to see this. Remember those Choose Your Own Adventure books? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be funny if they had a segment every week where, and I imagine it being Zack Ryder, just because Zack Ryder's so charismatic and he'd be so funny doing this, but where it was like, okay, via the app or online or whatever you want to do, next Monday night on Raw, what's Zack Ryder going to do? Is he going to wrestle against this person, or is he going to have to go to like a local mall and drink with like the locals? You know what I mean? And everybody's going to send him to like a mall just to watch. And I think it like a Choose Your Own Adventure where the fans were constantly sending like poor Zack Ryder on like random wild goose chases in whatever city. I think there would be some creative hilariousness to that. But I think the closest you would ever see by a fan, and granted, guys, that was a joke. Please don't think that. But if WWE, that's a free one if you want to use it. But I think that the closest were like the Cyber Sunday pay-per-views, Cyber Tuesdays. When we get fan voting on the app, stuff like that. That's the closest we'll ever get to actual like booking, because there's such a big picture, guys, that it's a very complex industry, and I think that is one thing as fans that we do take for granted. I think there's both sides. I think of the equation do take each other for granted a lot. There's a lot of the business as fans we do take for granted, and I think vice versa. But I think there's a lot, especially in the creative process, that as fans that there's a ton that goes into it.
I like that idea.
There really is. All right, so let me see. Steve said, and he just echoes the sentiments, Divas Revolution matches aren't meaningful yet. I mean, we need a number one contenders match. We don't need Divas we don't need Divas tag team matches. And big shout out to Marcus, who said go tell Teddy Long that. But again, echoing same sentiments. Rob, shout out to Rob. He said, if you remember Heyman's promo, he mentioned not having the rematch at every event except Hell in a Cell. So I guess Hell in a Cell would be where Brock Lesnar and Undertaker in Los Angeles. To me, it makes perfect sense.
Good. Thank you for correcting us.
No, I think that's what we pitched.
Oh, is that what we pitched?
That's what we pitched,
okay.
Absolutely. Isaiah Marsalis, I hope I pronounced the last name right. I can see Night of Champions Cena versus Owens versus Cesaro if Rollins were to drop it. Because that's the thing we have to remember, guys. Realistically, Seth Rollins could lose 2 championships before the end of September. He could lose the United States Championship before Night of Champions.
I hope that doesn't happen.
And he could lose, but wouldn't that create that rift between him and Triple H that we've been waiting for?
Possibly.
And again, guys, it's one of those where everybody's in rock and roll turn up. But let's see, WWE will want to get network subscriptions for the 30-day for the over 30-day demographic now. Bringing in Sting and the Dudleys, very good call on that one. Because what better way to and people over 30 years old. I mean, those
people that used to like the Attitude Era.
And not only that, like old school ECW fans, old school WCW fans, like absolutely, there's so much value in that. Let's see. I don't think a short title win for Sting hurts anyone or anything. It's a nice moment for him, and despite being 56, he can still go to a good enough degree, especially with someone like Rollins. Completely agree. He's in infinitely better ring shape than, say, Hogan, who is only 5 years older. It isn't a big deal if the title reign is short, considering it might have been it might have been promised to him as a part of a thank you in his deal, because we never know how contracts turn up, and that is a valid point. Let me see. It would have been cool, and it could be a cool moment for a lot of us fans over 30. No issues with Sting having the championship at all. Win also rebuilds him for younger fans after his Mania loss, and even though that wasn't bad, considering he only lost after a pedigree, sweet chin music, and sledgehammer shots to the head, and really and DX interference. So when you really think about it, that's what we always forget, guys. Those steps when it's like we only think of the finish, but think of what it took to finally put down Sting. And I think there's a lot of
I agree.
Great points
I can't really disagree with anything that he says. I just don't like the idea still.
Of Sting.
The idea of Sting.
Yeah, you know what? I think it would be a great way. I'm very open-minded on it. I'm very open-minded where I am staying open-minded because it's been such a roller coaster ride this year. And I think that's where, my boy digests the ceremony. We're gonna try and get back to you if we still have time, brother. Only because we're running out, and you know where we'll get you, Marcus. I'd love to see triple threat tag team tables match between the Dudleys, New Day, and PTP.
That'd be really interesting.
I dig it.
I dig it.
Let me see, Ryan. We'll get to yours if we can, brother. Cause we always get you on, but you know where we'll get you on if we don't get you on here. Banished Sloth says, but it's Sting.
But it's Sting. I know. I just don't know why they would give him a title match. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Sting?
Yeah.
But why though?
It just doesn't make sense to give Sting a title match to me.
Right now it does, because there's nothing that would piss off Triple H more than have
Triple H is the one who made it. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, because he obviously thinks that he has some master plan where there's no way in hell that Sting will be able to get a win.
I guess we'll just have to keep seeing.
Now, I'm not saying...
had Sting come out and been playing, like, little games with them, and then, like, in a week or 2 or 3 weeks, like, right before Night of Champions, then made the match, then maybe it'd make more sense. But this was just random and from out of nowhere. Yep. Sorry to take the Randy Orton pun, but it was from out of nowhere, and it just doesn't make sense to me. That's why I don't like it. I'll give it time, though. I'll give it a chance.
Let me see. Baby Cholo says Sasha Banks' future on the main roster, because hearing the crowds when Sasha isn't out there seems like they're her favorite. Morty right now. Do you think they'll use it the right way? P.S. Biggest Sasha Banks fans forever. You're talking to two huge Sasha fans right here. What do you think?
They're gonna use Sasha the right
Absolutely.
way.
They know
definitely.
Sasha, Charlotte, Becky, Paige, Bailey. They're gonna completely redefine. Alexa Bliss. Some of the
Emma.
Yeah, I know you're not gonna like it, but eventually it's gonna be Eva Marie too, in a heel way that people don't like.
Eva Marie's not gonna last another 2 more years.
I will say this. I will say this. I've never been so torn, because typically I have a type. As in life, I have a type you guys can see. So I've always liked AJ Lee, Lita, your rocker style chicks, or your brunettes, Layla, Shelly Martinez, Shelly Martinez. I mean, I've always been a fan. Melina. Like I have a type. We all do as men. We all do. But right now it's so hard for me to pick a type there, because I love Becky. And I'm saying just personally, guys, not from a wrestling standpoint. Between Becky, Sasha, Paige, I'm so torn right now. I can't pick a favorite. Rob says Sting is 55, perfectly fine with having him holding the title for a month or 2. Steve again said give him a storyline. I agree. The Divas need a storyline right now. Mm-hmm. Isaiah, Dudley Boy's on SmackDown. I love it. The Bell statement says, hey guys, shout out from New York City. What's going on? Which means you either love or hate that I'm a Mets fan too. I don't know. So you got to see Bayley Sasha match in person. It was amazing. Everything we heard from people that were there said it was fantastic. As for Raw, the Divas Revolution was something that was absolutely needed, but the execution of it is not all there. Yes. I think this whole team thing isn't working. The fans are not chanting for any specific team. They are chanting for the individual female wrestlers they want to succeed. Maybe it's too soon, and I get that the teams were the only way to bring up Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky. and involve Naomi and Tamina, but the girls need to start individually feuding. I completely agree 100%, because right now they're not getting...
That's why I actually thought that they were going to have Charlotte turn on Paige and Becky at the pay-per-view. That's honestly why I thought it was going to happen, because they need to get rid of this whole team scenario.
Right, and real quick...
It's getting old and stale because they do it every week.
And I don't want to cut you guys out, but Ryan and my boy Digestive Ceremony, you know we'll talk on this on a little bit more length, but real quick, do you think Nikki breaks the record? Ryan says yes. He says he thinks they swerves this and she loses to Sasha or Charlotte before Night of Champions. What do you say?
I hope that happens.
Let me see. Sting Authority Angle will lead the Survivor Series tag match. Potentially. The U.S. title has to be on the line. Do you see Rollins losing title before Night of Champions? I do.
I do not.
I do. Let me see. And real quick, I know my boy Digestive Ceremony has a lot on here. Biggest thing is, he said, love the idea of Taker, Lesnar, Hell in a Cell. I love it. Los Angeles, big lights. Lesnar is an attraction. And he notes on here, and this is a very good point, he notes on here that they have that WWE Live event that's going to be televised in October. So the October pay-per-view fits in so perfectly because, again, Brock Lesnar wrestled in July on a pay-per-view, right? What did he wrestle at? WWE Live earlier in July. Ties in hand. My man, you keep it 100 all the time. This is my man, the real deal right here, Digestive Ceremony. He got the best name in the world, too. Shout out to Rowdy Rough Ray, too. Now that the Dudleys are back, when will we get the Hardys?
I would like Jeff Hardy back.
I would love the Hardy Boys. I'm a big Matt Hardy mark.
I'm a big Jeff Hardy mark.
I met Jeff before. Absolutely cool dude.
And you met Matt.
It's funny. We met each other's favorites. I was a big V1 boy, and I loved V1. I loved the gimmick. I would love to see them back. I do think they come back eventually. I hope so. I hope. I would begging you guys one last run. The universe is begging you. We would like trust me. We want you back. We want you back, Sam.
I definitely would love Jeff. But
back to Digestive Ceremony real quick. Real quick about Ziggler's new tights. Weren't they very heelish? I'm talking about the random things.
I didn't like his tights.
I love them. He said they're very Rick Rudish. I agree. Very Rick Rude. They remind me of Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley's in a way. They reminded me, and Jericho had long pants for the longest time till the Second Coming return. I'm a fan of long pants. Like Michael still had, chaps he wore for a while, but still always wore long pants.
I liked looking at Ziggler's ass, so I liked the shorts.
Listen, it's hard enough when people always have to go, it's fake, and then we go, no, it's not, it's just scripted. And they go, you like watching men in their underwear, and it's like, well, how do I come up with this?
I do like watching men in their underwear.
Right, well,
kind of my preference.
Let me see, but his biggest argument right now is basically Nikki Bella coming out and saying that wins and losses don't matter. I completely agree wholeheartedly. Wow. He got a great rant in the comments, guys. Check his rant out because I wholeheartedly agree. When she came out on Monday night and said wins and losses don't matter, and you're the champion,
a slap to the face,
and you're a champion, what does that say? Guys, we're gonna wrap it up with that. I hope we entertained you where you sports entertain. Samantha Daley at Lady Nexus 13, the first lady of WrestlingRumors.net. Follow everything WrestlingRumors.net does. Subscribe to us underneath here. For Sam and I know we got to get out of here. This is backcountry. We can't stay here. Follow us, like us, subscribe. I am at Adam Daley 13 on the Twitter sphere. This is Planet Earth. Thank you for being our little, not universe, but what is it? We're the wrestling. I don't like fans, so you guys are just family. Screw it. You guys are just the WrestlingRumors.net family. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next week for Raw Review.